Hello, my name is Nicieza. I'd like to welcome you guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the second comic book that I ever got. I remember buying this as a kid. Sadly, it's a 3-part story arc, and I'm missing the one in the middle. And it's not one of those cases where I know I have it, it's just misplaced because I've moved a lot over the years, and a lot of my comics got mixed up within my collection. I know I lost this one, and buying back the issues in my country is virtually impossible. But happily, I still have this one. The first one was actually a Spider-Man comic book where Spidey teams up with Wolverine to hunt down Wendigo, and it was illustrated by Todd McFarlane. And I remember when I bought this one, this was actually at the same place where I got that Spider-Man issue. It was on one of those spinny racks at the local supermarket in Torrance, California, next to my uncle's house. And I can't remember the supermarket chain, if it was Ralph's, Vaughn's, or Lucky's, one of those from Southern California. But I remember getting this, and I already had just started my trading card collection, the Marvel Trading Card Series 1. I already started collecting those, so I was familiar with some characters. I was pretty familiar with the X-Men already, thanks to the X-Men cartoon, that pilot with Kitty Pryde, the focus on Kitty Pryde, and because of the arcade game. So this particular story was really confusing because I was just getting on board, and I didn't understand the idea of a parallel universe because it doesn't take place in the main Marvel universe. And so it was really confusing at first. So it took me a while to understand. The story was written by Fabian, Nicieza, illustrated by Bagley. And I see the advertisement for Double Dragon 3. I remember this game back when it came out. Like, this game was really awesome. I remember going to a friend's house and playing this a lot. I remember having Double Dragon 2, which I bought at a local pawn shop. I paid nothing for it. Those games were really awesome. So what happens here? These 3 characters, they're all mutants. Just Marvel Boy, Firestar. I was about to say Justice. He's also called Justice. Both of these characters, members of the New Warriors, and we have Cannonball. This is actually the first time I ever saw Cannonball. Was in this comic book. These 3 characters are mutants. We're actually in a universe where Egypt took over most of the world, and because of something that happened or was changed in the past. So in this world, Caucasians are like subjugated, and now they are second-class citizens in most of the countries of the world. Actually, it's called the ruling country is called the United States of Assyria. And in this particular story, we have the mutants are rebelling against the United States of Assyria because of the really bad situation white people are living in. So I remember seeing this Avengers lineup, and I just didn't understand what was going on because we have Egyptian Captain America, this really cool version of Thor, Egyptian Iron Man, Storm is on the team. That's sort of a cool addition because her family used to live for a time in Egypt. We have Captain Marvel, Photon, and they're trying to track down and hunt down mutants. So Firestar, Marvel Boy, and Cannonball start fighting against the Avengers. And also, Nova's like the token white person on this team. So these mutants are fighting for their lives. Wolverine jumps into the conflict. And I actually bought this comic book because I saw Wolverine on the cover. I was familiar who he was. I thought he was a total badass. Like, Wolverine was big when I was a kid. So Wolverine jumps into the battle with the Avengers. And to my total and utter surprise, he gets blasted by this Egyptian Thor and gets killed. And I thought to myself, oh my God, the second comic book I ever got and this guy's dead. I didn't know this was a parallel universe. And when I started collecting comic books, like, every death would shock me. I wasn't aware that characters came back from the dead like nothing. I realized this is like an Egypt-centric story, and Moon Knight isn't in it. So that was like sort of a misstep for the writer. So we get this whole situation where Nova's not cool. He feels like he's being discriminated against on the team because he's the only white guy. And in this whole situation, persecuting mutants, Magneto's like the head of this rebellion. We have Juggernaut, Cyclops, Polaris. Took me a long time to discover who the hell Polaris was. Beast, Blob, Eunice. Over here, Rogue. All pretty sad. Wolverine was killed. Discovering the story is that back in the past, what changed history was when Moses confronted the Pharaoh over the situation of the Jewish people. The wizard of the Pharaoh actually defeats Moses, and this obviously changes the course of history. This particular Pharaoh that was after that gets his hands on the Cause Stone, which is an insanely powerful cosmic gem, and becomes the Sphinx, and over time basically takes over the world. Egypt takes over the world, and the Sphinx, due to a very large scale tragedy, just doesn't want the Cause Stone anymore. It's too much of a burden. He gives the stone to his wife, and she becomes the new Sphinx. Was given this revelation that this reality is it's all alive, thanks to this like ghost dude. Character design of the female Sphinx, actually, she's pretty awesome. Now I was just thinking, I've never seen the Sphinx characters. He's one of Nova's main villains. Never crossed paths with Apocalypse. That would have been a pretty interesting story. I'm missing the second issue, sadly. I remember having it, but we have all the heroes united, trying to take down Sphinx once and for all. And especially when I was a kid, I was a real sucker for like seeing these battles where all the heroes were teaming up to battle a super powerful villain, and it's just all kinds of action. It's pretty awesome. But what's really going down is this is just a distraction, so Night Thrasher can get into Sphinx quarters and capture Sphinx cat, because she has a very special relationship with this cat. It's like a representation of her love for the original Sphinx. So he's able to get into her quarters. She hunts down the cat, and when Sphinx realizes this situation, she goes as fast as possible to save her cat. In the story, also outside of Cannonball and Sabretooth, this is the first time I ever saw Sabretooth in the story. Abomination, Sandman. No, actually, I was familiar with him. Actually, literally, the first Marvel trading card that I pulled out of my first pack was the Sandman trading card. So I always remember that. And here's a real cool moment that Sphinx punched Hulk into outer space, and he comes back into orbit. He comes back bouncing on the ground, and the character who's Speedball in this universe never became Speedball in the first place, and he finds it totally hilarious seeing Hulk bouncing around on the floor. The New Warriors join forces to stop Sphinx. They capture the cat. They tell her, "We kill the cat if you don't make things back to normal." So she decides to make reality the way it should be, and the New Warriors are able to defeat her. This was the first complete story arc I ever read. I was really relieved that was a parallel reality. Wolverine wasn't dead, and this particular series, I stuck around reading it. Also, at the same supermarket, I started buying Dark Hawk comic books too, and that's how I started my collection. So, I hope you guys like this video, and see you guys next time. Bye.